Hi everyone, it's Maddie. I am back again with a little tutorial. I've got my 2-year-old son and my crazy dog next to me, so I'm sorry if you can hear them throughout this, but I have had this footage sitting around for a bit, so I figured I should just make a video while I have the time. So what I'm going to show you here is how I go from having comic page style panels to the scroll format for Webtoon and Tapas, and kind of my process in doing all of that. It's really not difficult, just a little time consuming, and it could be easier, but I do some extra steps to ensure that everything is the way I like it, which means I can edit the text and the balloons and the panel borders once I've imported it to the scroll format. So you can see me here. I'm going panel by panel, and I'm merging everything all together so everything in one panel is all contained within that folder. The only thing I don't merge is the text in bubble. That stays by itself, which you will see once I start moving them over. And the reason I merge everything together is because it speeds up resizing and copying and pasting into the other document. There's no reason to have that extra information. Yeah, buddy? There's no reason to have that extra information when I'm just reformatting everything. It just slows everything down. I also make sure that I have everything really big. So I work at about 600 DPI. I recommend working at least 300. Most people do. And this is because if you do need to resize it, then it doesn't look bad, pixelated. Yeah, it makes it so that your artwork can just in general look better and smoother, especially when resizing. So I work for my long scroll format pages twice as big as the size recommendations or size requirements for Webtoon. Webtoon needs it to be, I believe, 800 pixels wide, so I work 1600 pixels wide, and then as long as it will let me, and I just let the program crop everything to be that 1200 pixels. That way I don't have to worry about doing that myself. I just let the program do that. But I will show you once I get everything merged here. Sorry, I'm keeping this all real time, at least for this first part, so you can kind of see how long it takes me to kind of organize everything, get everything merged together, and then start placing the panels. Now, normally I would go through and I would merge everything, get everything all set for all of the pages that I'll be working on that day or that I have done. Currently I have 24 pages complete, and I try to merge everything, get all the panels at least for, 5 or so pages. That way I can focus more on one thing at a time, especially when I'm placing the panels. You can see that sometimes I fiddle around with the placements and what will look good when someone's scrolling. Now you can see that the panel, it comes in really big, and then I can just resize it to be whatever size I need it to. And this is also the reason why I like to have the panel borders and the words and balloons still have their own layers, because then I can make sure all the borders are the same and the text is all consistent. Now, that's something that I think just looks better. You don't have to do that. You could just merge your whole page together and cut out the panels and paste them in, and I'm sure it would look totally fine. This is just kind of going the extra step and wanting things to be consistent. That's totally just my thing. And also, you can see, since this panel on the original page goes off the page, there was that slight white border, so I can kind of adjust the borders if I need to, and I can adjust the placement of the balloons, which is really nice because in pages you do have to kind of allot space for the dialogue, whereas in a webtoon it's easier to have the dialogue kind of be off panel and have more focus on your art, which is really nice because in some panels, because of the format difference, I really have to make them quite small, so I have to pick and choose what areas of the panel are more important to show, what panels I want to be larger, what panels I want to be smaller, and if I can just get rid of that allotted space for the dialogue and have the balloons be above or below the panel, then it doesn't matter because the dialogue is still there, it's still readable, and it still has its own space. Now, some of the weird things you might see me doing is once I import the panel, if you open up the panel folder, and this is only if there's text. For some reason, the text always puts a mask. I don't know, there's always a layer mask that it automatically makes for these word balloons, so just delete the mask and then you can more easily adjust the size of the panel. You can adjust it without doing that, but it bugs me. You can kind of see here how the transform tool goes lower than the panel. It drives me nuts. Turns out I had a little white speck somewhere in this panel, but if you don't delete the layer mask, it will count that as part of the panel itself, so then the dialogue or the transform tool will use that whole size as a reference point. I don't know, I just like it being close to the panel. It makes it easier. I believe in this panel I'm working on here, I do adjust where the balloon is, and that's really easy. What I do is if the panel is outside or breaks the border, then I take the dialogue layer out of that folder and I merge it up at the top, so then I have all the dialogue in that one layer. That is, I think, the simplest way to do it. That way I can adjust any of the balloons just on that same layer. Sometimes you're clicking forever with the object select tool and getting the wrong thing, and it's very frustrating. So I keep all of that together, and if I need to adjust it, then I can do that. You just take the object select tool, select your balloon, and you can adjust the width. And when you resize things and resize the text, sometimes the text isn't quite center, so make sure you keep keeping an eye on that too and recentering the text in the balloon. It is a pet peeve for many people to have kind of lopsided balloons, so anything you can do to make the reading experience easier is definitely preferable, especially in comics, because as much as comics is a medium that is visual, it is ultimately a reading medium. You are reading the dialogue, and you need to make the dialogue and the text something that isn't going to be distracting. So that's really all I have to say. I'm sorry, my puppy daughter and my baby toddler son, they're being kind of crazy. I'm sorry if they were distracting. But I'm just gonna speed the rest of this up. You can enjoy me just adjusting it, and you can see kind of what it turns out to be in the end. I just showed this one page and what I decided to do with it. Hopefully this inspires some of you to take your comic pages and turn them into scroll format. I think it's easier to read comics like on your phone this way, but I love page format, so I really don't want to give it up, especially if I'm going to eventually sell them at conventions or whatever. So that's my thought process. I'm old school and I love pages, but I do recognize that scroll format is it is really amazing. It's really great to be able to read on your phone easier. So I want to have the best of both worlds, and I don't quite have the best of both worlds, but it's pretty close. There are some things that I wish I could do with the scroll format that is just impossible if I'm going to be importing pages, like a page style. Like, I'm never going to have those big, long, dramatic panels that you see. You can kind of see, if you go to my comic, which, by the way, you can head over to Webtoon or Tapas and subscribe to my comic. Check it out. It's called A Web of Lace. The title page is actually the cover that is the same size as a regular comic page that I have here, that I kind of really played with a lot to have that really dramatic scroll style. But anyway, it's been a journey. It's been a learning experience, because I'm not experienced in creating these really long comic pages, but it's really been fun. Anyway, enjoy the rest of this video and see how it all turns out. I hope this inspires you to make both, or I don't know, helps you in some way, because there aren't a lot of videos on how to do this and how to do this. I don't even know just how to do it at all, really, in general. So I figured I'd just throw my hat in the ring and see if it helps anybody. And if it does help you, please feel free to leave a comment and let me know. Check out my other stuff. I post occasionally when I have time. I really enjoy making videos, but don't always have time to make videos. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.